understand all. The initial verse, we understand the pure and radiant virtues of our intrinsic nature. So this flow follows on from the past 2-3 teachings, that the underlying goodness of our intrinsic nature. And I've explained to you about the how Sangchuang went over and to come back and validated this teaching. This virtuous nature is found inside and out. I will explain a bit more about this inside and out later, and you may remember that one of the contemplation I gave you, there was some time ago, maybe a couple of months ago, I gave you the sharing about practicing inside out and outside in, and this is what it is. So insight is the wondrous wisdom that we possess, and this is where we need to practice with awareness, because this is what the wondrous wisdom. Why is it wondrous wisdom? That's because of the that you're able to practice the unconditioned Dharma. Outside is all the Dharma we understand and express, and this is about our. So when you say understand, right, there's the Dharma, and express is our demeanor. The demeanor is our conduct, is our character. So this is what we need to be mindful of. So awareness and mindfulness. So in Master's explanation, our intrinsic nature has already been buried under a deep layer of affliction. So we have our intrinsic nature. The problem is over innumerable lifetimes, we have buried our intrinsic nature, or pure Buddha nature. So, but then the Buddha has already spent innumerable kalpas in the presence of countless Buddhas engaging in a spiritual practice. So if we have spent innumerable lifetimes since the beginners of time, that we have buried our deep layer of affliction. So you can imagine that how many lifetimes we need to excavate that. So the virtuous nature is found inside and out, which I explained earlier. So inside this wondrous wisdom, which is what this intrinsic nature is, that's where this wisdom, wondrous wisdom of the unconditioned Dharma. So as a result of which, when based on whatever we understand our habitual tendencies is, so we speak the way we do, and we have the deeds according to what we desire. And this is the problem, that if you are a selfish being, we can be selfish in the words that we do and the deeds that we do. So it changed that to being selfless, and the speech will change, and so our deeds and our thoughts. So we must be considerate to others and help them reduce the burdens and our work. And this is what has in the process of cultivating. We need to actually exercise that and be in practice based on those virtues and the teachings that Master have taught us. So Master gave the example of the Philippines and how they express the love, and that is the underlying intrinsic nature of their actions. But people without system cannot achieve this because they are still grasping on to the way they think. So if they have this a lot of greed, a lot of hatred, a lot of anger, and this is what they keep grasping on, and it's very difficult then to practice. So unless we let go of our thoughts, words, and deeds, will be as such. So inside and outside. So with the virtue, we cultivate the external actions. And this is where we need to understand and express the Dharma inside and out. So inside and out is about the what we understand, and we then express it out in a way our conduct would do so. So if you remember some time back when Master gave the teachings in the life of chapter, I can't remember, chapter 21 or 22, she went on to talk about external cultivation and the internal cultivation. So in the external cultivation, we do so with the 4 infinite minds. And in the internal cultivation, we do so with the 4 bodhisattva vows. So this is how we express ourselves inside out. So our love and virtuous nature are from inside and out. So inside we inherently have this pure, undefiled, great love, and that is the inherent goodness in all of us, but is buried with affliction. So we need to excavate all this mud and dust that we have piled up over innumerable lifetimes. So then Buddha then explained that any sentient being with a mind has the same intrinsic nature as the Buddha. So then Master asks, is there any sentient being without a mind? So as long as we mind, we are the pure Buddha nature. So then the Buddha said it did nothing more than teach what sentient beings already intrinsically possess. That means the Buddha nature is already all of us. So all we do is excavating that. So if you remember, when a very, very early sharing that I shared with you all, the cultivation in the Buddhist path is about losing. It's not about gaining. It's about losing things that you have, because you already have your Buddha nature, right? So all you, and it's being piled up. So it's not about piling a Buddha nature on top of your afflictions. So the whole cultivation practicing is about losing all those afflictions that you have. Then only then you can reveal your Buddha nature. So then when we do so, the Buddha nature will reveal itself, because we already have it. So in this Sutra verse and Master's explanation, the Buddha's great enlightened wisdom is clearly something sentient beings have. That means we already have it. So the Dhamma nature is like a great ocean, but unfortunately being shrouded by a lot of affliction. It does not say it is true or not. Unenlightened beings and noble beings are equal. I'll come to that later here. So we have this Buddha nature, but we have become deluded. So therefore, we need then to understand that, and in our practice, we need to get rid of all the affliction. It's not about accumulating anything else. The Dhamma nature is like the ocean, and thus our wisdom, our enlightened nature is vast as the ocean. So we need to have an open heart and an open mind to be in the practice of the Dhamma. So the Buddha does not say it is true or not. Are all things actually real? The Buddha said everything is empty in nature. In the end, it returns to nothing. So if you understand this couple of lines, then you know that my master has been teaching about emptiness, about letting go, so on and so forth, is to uncover the Buddha nature. So this whole journey is about one of discovering who you actually are, to uncover all the afflictions so that you can unveil the Buddha nature, to rediscover your good intrinsic nature. So, and this is what we are doing in this particular practice. So as for enlightened beings and noble beings, you are an enlightened being and you want to be a noble being. And so this is what this sentence means. Enlightened beings and noble beings are equal. So the only difference between the two are our defilements. And there's only difference between and a noble being and ourselves. And so therefore, if we understand that, all we need to do is shave off all these layers and layers of affliction, and which is in the path of losing. So in the lessons learned, those without affinities are those lacking the right causes and conditions. So sometimes when for whether a good karmic seed or a bad karmic seed to arise, there is a right cause. And then you must have the condition for the seed to germinate. So same thing with affinity. So we need to have the right condition to do so. But the Buddha compassionately thought all and ultimately formed affinities without bias. So therefore, it doesn't matter who you are. So therefore, the only difference are only the layers of affliction that we all have piled up. Whether they have affinities or not, as long as they listen to the Buddha Dharma, they were able to plant causes. So sometimes the causes that we plant may not manifest in this lifetime, but it will do so in a future lifetime, which is also the reason why that we are in practice, even though you may be practicing very well, is to plant that into the mind continuum so that the progress will continue in future lifetimes. So this is unconditioned loving kindness of the Buddha, and such is the true suchness in all of us. So all sentient beings in the world intrinsically have the Buddha nature. As long as we learn virtuous teachings, we can apply them, and this is a journey we are taking on right now. So in our contemplation for today, relating to this, so a householder in practice has a spiritual consciousness, or practice inside out and outside in. So inside out is the practice of applying the Dharma within you and understanding what is the unconditioned Dharma, emptiness of it, and you practice to express yourself out. So outside in is when you observe outside, that you do not get defiled by what is outside. So when we, therefore, when you look at what is outside in, that we need to then discern what is unwholesome, do not take then. Whatever is wholesome is for us to express our demeanor, our conduct, to do so. So this is a part of inside out. It's about awareness, and outside in is about mindfulness. So therefore, when we do that, we then understand and apply the Dharma into our daily life in both the internal cultivation and the external cultivation. A householder who is well in practice is like a nimble, to be able to rise above the worldly winds. Why is it rise above the worldly winds? Because we as a householder, we are still living in the world. We still have a worldly life, unlike monastics. When you live the worldly life, you have to face the worldly winds, and they will keep blowing at us all the time. Praises and blame, name and shame, gains and losses, happiness and sadness, they come to us every moment of the time throughout the whole day. So you got to then rise above those worldly winds. Otherwise, you'll be within the forces of the wind and you can get blown away. So in the matters that see, you observe and rise above. And that is what it is when you cultivate inside, outside in. So you were to see, you observe, and you rise above that, and you do not influence by whatever is unwholesome. Then you apply the four right efforts. A few days ago, the master shared, right, the four right efforts, how to deal with two methods of dealing with unwholesome thoughts, two methods dealing with wholesome thoughts. With the elevated consciousness, you are then prepared for the unprepared. And that's what we need to do, to rise above, so that we prepare for the unprepared. So learn to unlearn the worldly ways. And such is the swift practice that rises above the winds. So on relationship, do not trouble, not even when trouble troubles you. And either mind looks for trouble. Such is living with the worldly concerns as a householder for us. So you live in the world, but do not let the world live in you outside in. Live inside out then in your practice. So find the peace within and not from the world. So do not search outside. Peace is found within you. So train the mind to be still, and you will then find the inner peace. Okay? Gan En, brothers and sisters, that's all I have. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Chin, for the awesome. Now I'm getting a little bit more trouble already. Yeah, with all the trouble, so many troubles. Yeah, okay. Okay, can we take a quick group photos of all of us? At the same time, then we get maybe Sister Stephanie to say a few words as well.
Yeah, Sister Stephanie, no need to say lah. Sister Xiaoqing, faster, 7 o'clock, come already.
Okay, Sister Xiu Qing, yes, Xiu Qing. Yeah, come.
Oh, yeah, trouble.
All the Buddhas, yeah, please on your video. Please on your video. Show us, yeah, smiling face.
The trouble. I took the photo already. I don't mind for trouble. 真的是 wisdom, word of wisdom. Let us all rediscover our pure nature. And all the brothers and sisters are on board. Very wonderful sharing today. While listening today, 我真的是很陶醉 and a lot of reflection. 其实是很多 my page is full already with words. But indeed, these are very powerful. Each of us has intrinsic Buddha nature, neither less or more than Buddha. First I heard it, I was like, is it true? I cannot ever believe it. But as we walk on this journey, it's indeed true. And yeah, as we go through, I think meeting people, especially those we hear the stories, Sister Peggy, Sister Suisan, in charity life, it's from time to time we also face that. But how do we face that? I mean, these people are people with affinity to us. Because we understand Tzu Chi is a spiritual cultivation ground. So I recall in refugee visit, we also have this family during the first assessment. Their conditions has improved since they asked, when they asked for UN to help, their conditions was very bad. There was this single mother with like 6 children, all of them not working. But by the time we visit them for the assessment, one of the child has started working. Of course, there are 2 options. One is just say, okay, then we can move on and do report, no for this family. But thinking masters teaching, each of us like this, like masters my master said one hand while caring for ourselves and one hand on master's behalf. What would master say to them? So we explain the conditions of other refugees. Instead of us saying no in our report, we let them think and they contemplated. So 他们有机会 to be benefactors of others. Then they heard the conditions of others is so poor, and then they say, okay, we give up our rights. This money let us donate. It's like a donation to others. We pass it to others. 你看，我们真的是有机会. So with master's teaching, not only we can benefit ourselves, we can also help the others to benefit others. As for the master said today, actually, in fact, Dharma is a great ocean. Just, it sounded very simple. Just turn the hand, like we can, by eliminating afflictions in mind, we can realize realization. We can make realization so easily. It's like turning our hand. Is it that easy? But in Tzu Chi, we can see maybe people like drug addicts. Even when I first joined Tzu Chi, there was this story about this sister, her husband, his mistress. You know what? She not only take care of the husband and the mistress when they are ill, she also she served them like Buddha because she has master's teaching. She's like this. When I heard this, the turning of the head, but maybe it's not easy for her the journey, but it's doable. Let us not hold on to this suffering. Master actually these desires are all the poisons. It's like if you're still clinging on to it, it's like we are the vultures fighting over rotten flesh, dogs trying to bite flames. Pressing fire against scabies, holding torch in a headwind, black cloth covering us, master during the wisdom at dawn. 真的, may each of us in this flawless seat have overflowing master's teaching. Like Brother Chen said, rise above the worldly winds and have this elevated consciousness. We all can do that. That is the 祝福 for each of us as we practice daily. 好，感恩。
Yeah, 感恩 so much, Tzu Chi.